Hey guys, my name is Steve and this is Wilmer Woodworks. So we have our last fall design. I know fall is very quick. I had some Halloween designs that I've just completed, and these are all of my Thanksgiving designs. So I've got a nice little cheese board here. I got some place name holders that I've done, some napkin rings, all perfect for your Thanksgiving table. And here is the final centerpiece, which is a pie box. So if you're going to a friend's house or family and you're asked to bring a pie, why not bring it up a notch, and you can even engrave on the pie. It's totally edible. It does smell a little bit when you're burning it. I wish it was a little bit better of a smell, but you can do it. So this design makes a nice little box that you can carry and give as a gift and a centerpiece, and it really does add a nice touch. All I've done here is I've taken the centerpiece and I spray painted that orange and then put that nice little pumpkin design. You can change that and put any words, Happy Friendsgiving, leave it blank. I've got a couple of turkey designs, things like that. But you can really do any of the ones that you want. And then I just decorated each of these sides with a little icon. You can personalize this as however you like. So today's video, I'm going to go into LightBurn, and it's pretty much the same process that we went through and made this candy casket for Halloween. So I'll show you how I space out the tabs, how I make the sides, how I make the interlocking lid, because it's the same sort of lid, it just interlocks. It takes about, this one is a full size, so this is an 8-inch for an 8-inch pie, and this took 3 or 4 sheets of ply. So it's not terrible. It is a little bit more wood required than my previous builds, the smaller items, but it definitely does make a statement. I'll show you how I made this little fluting around the side for the pie crust, along with, like I said, the spacing for the joints. So that's what we're going to cover in LightBurn today. Let's get right over to it, and then we'll throw it on the machine. I'll show you how I laser cut it. Let's get to it. All right, so we're in LightBurn, and we're going to start with a basic shape. And on the pie carrier that I made, I started with a standard octagon. So if you go up to the square icon over here, or the shape icon, to create rectangle, and just hold, drag down, you can find octagon. And then holding shift, it will give you an actual octagon here, or a even octagon, symmetrical. If you don't make the octagon shape, you can always go over here and you can change it from 6 sides to 8 sides. So depending on how many sides you want, really you could do it any size. But I found that the octagon is decent for what I'm going to do. We want to lock this design so it stays at the correct aspect ratio. We're going to make this for our larger pie. The standard pie is 9 inches. So depending on if you want to do it for an 8-inch pie or a 10-inch pie, you want to adjust these numbers. But I'm going to make this for a 9-inch pie. With a 9-inch pie, we're going to want about a 9 3/4 inch octagon, just to allow for an additional little buffer so you can get your fingers in there to get the pie in and out. All right, now with that shape created, we're going to create an outward offset of 1/4 inch. So we'll put that at 1/4 inch. Now we'll just select again, and we will do one more offset of an outward 1/4 inch. Click OK. So now we have 3 lines. The center line, we're going to want that to be our tool path, because we're not actually going to cut or engrave. It's just for reference. Okay. So now with all 3 items selected, let's first make our little rectangles for our tabs, and these will hold our sides. So we do want to put this on a cut layer, whatever color you use for cut. The height of this, so this will actually be for we're making this for 3mm ply. So you can either type in 3mm, and it'll adjust, or I like to use 1.25 because that's 1/8. And we can go with any size we want. Oops, we want to turn this aspect ratio off. So 0.125 for an 1/8 inch, or 3mm, with a little bit of buffer for that kerf. And we can go with 1 inch, 2 inch, doesn't matter on the tabs. And what I like to do is I'll center this. Now, since this is a little bit larger, you can do 3, 4, I mean, you can do any size you want. So let's say if we cut this down to 1/2 inch, let's say, there we go. Now let's just do our array. Now I'm going to make this array with 0 spacing because we want this to be, okay, so I want this to be 0 spaced, and I'll just put a couple in there and I'll click OK. Now it's going to group everything, and actually I could have chose to not group everything, and I'll probably do that this time. So I just want to create another array. Now this is the way that I do it just because we want to reverse the direction. It's easy for me. So what do? We do 3 that way, 3 this way, and we're going to unselect this group results. Click OK. Now I really don't need this one or that one. I just want the 2 on the ends, but it's a great way to space everything out. So now with these 3, these are going to be the tabs that are cut into both the middle piece and the bottom. Now this is going to be a lot like the coffin that we've already done before. Group this together with those selected, hold shift, grab our tool line, and now we want to do this circle array, which is over here. So we go to circle array, and it's going to say how many copies do you want. So we can go to, oops, let's zoom out so you can see exactly where it's going. So we're going to want 8 because we have an octagon. You click 8, click OK, and now everything followed that line all the way around and everything is evenly spaced. Perfect. Now this by itself is centerpiece, or the top of the bottom. So this will just keep the sides in line. So what I'll do now is I'll hit Control D to duplicate, and I'll move this over. So that's done. Now if we remove this piece, this is, oops, Control Z, 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 Z. There we go. I didn't have everything selected. So we select everything and we hit Control D to duplicate, move that around. So that's the top of our bottom case. And then, all right, guys, I just want to take a quick break from the video to remind everyone, if you haven't yet, I recommend that you go over to the Skool platform. It's skool.com and search for Laser Labs by Wilmer Woodworks. It's easy to find. So if you can't remember anything, Skool, Wilmer Woodworks. Go there, search for it. That is a group of laser enthusiasts. A whole bunch of people that have lasers already. They have the same questions and concerns that you have. What about settings? What kind of files? How do I do this? How do I do that? They're all trying to start their laser hustle. And the world is a big place. I guarantee you're not going to be in the same neighborhood as everybody else in the group. So feel free, go over there. The group is free for now. Beginning in November, I'm going to turn it into a paid group. It's just becoming so large and requires a lot of work on my part. Don't worry, it's not going to be anything crazy, only like $7, $10 a month, or you'll get a discount if you buy for the year. But trust me, you'll get enough free designs that it'll make it worth it, along with tips, tricks, business tips, craft show setup, things like that. And it really is a community. You ask a question, you're going to get several answers, and they're all very meaningful answers. Instead of searching subreddits and things like that, it's definitely a wealth of information. So I encourage you to go over there, sign up now, because like I said, if you do sign up before the end of October, you will be grandfathered into that free plan. All right, enough talk about that. Let's get back to the design. Let me just duplicate this one more time, move this up, delete that. And now we've already got most of the pieces complete. So this is our bottom. And actually, if I move this over here, we can select all of this and we'll just group this together. This way, when we move everything, everything moves correctly. We'll center align this, now group that. So that's the bottom of our box. And this is the top of our box, not the lid, but just the top of the box. And this part here we're going to use to actually start making our lid. Now what I like to do is I'm going to draw a couple circles here. Now if you move your mouse, you'll see that it does change, and when that changes, that'll let you know that is in the center of your design. Now I'm just going to make this circle go a little bit almost to the edge of that octagon. Perfect. Now I'm going to make another circle. And I'm holding shift just because I want it to be an actual circle. And let's change this to 1/2 inch. Let's see what 1/2 inch looks like. 0.5 and 0.5. Okay. And now when I drag this down, and we'll put this on a cut layer, that's fine. When I drag this down, you'll see that the mouse changes, and that lets us know that it is in the center. And holding shift again, I'm going to grab this toolpath and I'm going to do another array. And this is going to give the look of the pie crust. So we'll go to our circle array. Now it's already selected 8 because we used that last time, but 8 is not enough. So we're going to just increase this number until they touch. Let's see. Okay, so they're about touching. But what I like to do is, since I'm leaving this bottom octagon here, you can kind of see where that box will go. So I don't think that that ½ inch is going to be large enough for what we want. So let's just do that again, and we'll try 1 inch this time. See what that looks like. So we select this, and then we just drag this down to the tool line, and it will snap, holding shift. And now we can do, now we have, since it's larger, we have too many. So let's cut this in half. Let's do 30, 31. There we go. Now we're touching. It's a little bit small. We could probably go a little bit bigger. Let's go with 1.5 inches. So we'll select this, or let's go 1.25 inches. 0.25, 1.25. All right, 30 is, and you see you can't really see it, so that's perfect. Click OK. And now with everything selected, before you hit anything else, we're going to weld this together. And now that it's welded together, you can see we're pretty well laid out on this. So we're going to ungroup it. Now I ungroup it because I don't want to cut that. I just want to cut the outer. Okay, now we'll take this, holding shift, not holding shift, excuse me, holding control. We'll shift this down a little bit. Now this will be our second cutout. Put that on the cut layer, and we do not need anything else. So actually, let me just grab this, and I'll grab this, and I'm just going to move this out of the way. All right, now I want to move this to a different layer because I don't want that to be a cut. I'm going to have this as an engrave. So the only thing we're going to cut here is the black. So we'll cut around, we'll cut the circle, and then we'll engrave so we know where to line up. Now if I take this circle, Control D for duplicate, and we'll put this in the center of here. Now we'll put this on the toolpath. Now whatever we're going to use this inner piece that's cut out and this outer piece as the top. We can actually take our art library and we can just drop that there. And let's put this on layer 3. There we go. And then hit Control. So now this will engrave within that circle, and that circle will be exposed so we know we're not going past it. As long as you don't go past this reference line, you're good to go. Okay, so the only thing we have to do is to make our sides, and that is very easy. We're going to go up to the rectangle tool. Actually, let's go to our measure tool first. Let's measure this piece. So 4 inches. Let's make our box 4 inches by maybe 1 inch, 1.5 inches. So we'll go 4 inch by 1.5. Oops. And what I like to do is I like to take this, Control D to duplicate. We'll move this up. Now that is centered on that piece. So we go with the width and we just go ×2. And this makes it twice as wide. Control D to duplicate again. And now if we just center that on that piece and center this on the bottom, then select everything, and then we will just weld that together. So this will be our side. Now if I zoom up and move this over here, we will just make a little array. And this array, we are going to want this to be 2 by 4 because it's an octagon. 2 by 4, and the spacing is set to 0, and we're already set to optimize, so these lines are going to be exactly on top of each other. So the machine only has to cut that once. And now with these sides completed, we can just drag and drop some elements, any images that you find that you want to have. Like I said, I made this art library for my fall decor, so I'm just continuing in that motif. And then you can just drag this down. Okay, so that's our sides, that's our top, and that is our insert. So these are all the pieces that we will need for this box. So we'll go over to the laser, we'll cut it out, we'll paint a couple of the pieces, and then we'll just assemble.
A few moments later.
So I just use this little engraving as an alignment tool. So I know where to, one, apply my glue, and two, how to align this so it perfectly fits. Just hold that down for a few seconds. There you go. Perfect pumpkin pie. And what's nice too is, since we use that same cutout, this will fit perfectly as the lid topper. There we go. Now that's closed up. There is your pumpkin pie box. All we have to do now is take our engraved pie, which we had on our laser as well, put that in our little carrier, and give this as our host gift. Perfect. That takes a $7 pie and makes it a little bit more special for that host. And it's something that they can store and take out the following year. All right, I hope everybody appreciated this tutorial for the Thanksgiving pie box, which is perfect for a host for your next Thanksgiving or Friendsgiving. It's very easy to put together once you get the hang of the circle array, which is how we spaced all of these little tabs out, and the array tool, which we use to put all these pieces butted up against each other and optimize LightBurn so it only cut once. This is a great project, and like I said, you can engrave it directly on the pie as well. And yeah, I hope you can add this to your Thanksgiving files. Now, this is the last Thanksgiving file I'll be making. I'm going right over to the Christmas ornaments next, which everybody's always very excited for. And yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to leave those in the comments below. And I also want to shout out to Longer. They sent me their Longer B1 watt, and without that laser, I would not be able to cut half-inch walnut like this for the placeholders or make many of these other projects as fast as I've been able to using their new B1 40 watt. So I'll put a link to their laser below. It definitely speeds up my production time, which I am very grateful for. They sent their B1 with the extensions, so it can cut 18 inches by 30 inches, along with some rotary attachments and little extras and doodads. And I will be sure to go over all of those features in the next coming weeks in my projects. So stay tuned for that as well. And until next time, my name is Steve. Go grab this digital file, which will be available on our website, wilmerwoodworks.com, and join our Skool community before November 1st, because November 1st is when it's going to turn into a paid community. So you'll have either the monthly dues or the annual dues. If you go with the annual, it'd be a little bit more affordable for you. But if you get in now, you will be grandfathered in for that lifetime free. Enough of that. Enough of this. Next week, Christmas. Hope everybody liked the video. Be sure to, like I said, hit all the buttons. Hype, like, subscribe. If there's anything else, I can't think of that right now. All right, till next time, my name is Steve. Thanks for watching.